Hello, and welcome to today's YouTube video. We are talking about bounce rate. What is a bounce rate and how can you improve it? Let's go. So, today we are talking about bounce rate. What does that even mean? What is that even about? I hear you say, yeah, I get it. It's one of those terms that often seems super duper technical. So let's get it down to the basics. Yeah, it sounds like a boring term, but what does it actually mean? So wiggly fingers, it's the percentage of visitors to a particular website who navigate away from that site after viewing only one page. So the bounce is all about the fact that somebody has come to your website and then left again. They haven't gone anywhere else. They haven't taken any other action. They've gone to that page and then they've disappeared. So that bounce might be immediately. They might go to the website and just come away. That bounce might be they go to the website, they read the thing, and then they navigate away. So a bounce rate is all about the people that go to your website and only spend time on one page. That's what a bounce rate is. So apparently, a high bounce rate means that your website is boring or off-putting, but I think there's a little bit more to it than that. If you're driving traffic to a particular part of your website, perhaps to read an article, perhaps to a sales page, perhaps to grab a freebie, then there is a higher likelihood that people are going to navigate away after they've gone and taken the action that you asked them to take. If you are thinking about creating a more wholesome experience on that website and keeping your traffic longer, then we have to think about making your website sticky, which I'll talk about in just a second, and the different strategies and tactics that you can take in order for people to spend more time on your website, navigate to other places, make it a little bit like that rabbit warren that they go down and they get involved in, and that they see, you know, lots of stuff that really works for them. So as a rule of thumb, a bounce rate between 26 and 40% is excellent. A bounce rate of 41 to 55% is told to be average. 56% to 70% is a bit higher than average. Anything above 70% is said to be disappointing. But, like I say, it doesn't mean that your website is a webshite. Okay, so if you do feel like you've got a website that isn't quite working right for you, that isn't quite what it seems, then you might just want to grab hold of... See, I wasn't even ready with my props. No one wants a website guide. So I will put the link to that guide into the description that is around this video, because this is just a little bit of an overview and a checklist. It's a website checklist for everything that you need to be thinking about on your website. And you can go through step by step and just tick it off. So if you do feel like your website does need a little bit of TLC, then that is the thing to get your hands on. It's totally free, nothing to pay. You can just grab hold of it and it will help you to make sure that your website is a happy site and not a website. So what I want to talk to you a little bit more about then is creating a level of stickiness within your website, so that when people do come in, they're spending time on more than one page. They're indulging in more than one thing. And I'm going to show you some different things that you can do in order for that to happen. So as a roundup, bounce rate is the percentage of people who come to your website, go to one page, leave. It's not saying that that's bad, because you might be sending them to a specific page. But there are things that we can do to improve that bounce rate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into my website here and I'm going to give you a little bit of a guided tour, a little bit of a behind the scenes, and show you some of the things that I do to make sure that we have got people hanging around on the website and people who are able to spend a little bit more time there. So the first thing that we need to think about is having buttons. So this is a good thing to have. Front page with buttons. Really clear navigation across the top so that people can find their way to stuff. Buttons, so you can get free stuff here. You can find out more here. You can get your free resources here. You can find more about free support. You can find out about some group support. You can find out about real life shifts. You can find out about how to get in touch. And they're all buttons that take people off to another page. So if you click on those buttons, it opens up in a new window. It's always important to open it up in a new window, and it takes people off to a new page where they can get involved with the next thing. I also have a link here to my articles and a read more button, so you can go through and read more, or you can load up older entries and it can give you some other entries there for the blog. So there you can see on my front page, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 ways to navigate beyond that page. So that gives you an idea of how you can start to create a navigatable area. So if you go and work with me, so again, I make sure that these links as well have pages behind them, because sometimes if you've got a drop down menu, people forget about the link at the top. So in here are the different ways that you can work with me. So again, there's buttons, calls to action, allowing you to go through one-to-one work, courses and programs, dive in and read a book, real life connections, and some testimonials across the bottom, which is always good to have a little bit of social proof in there. We've got free stuff. So in here, this is a really good one for you to think about in your free resources. So if you've got a freebies page, which I'm going to go through to now, you will see that there's a great way for you to retain traffic on your website. So it might be that you're saying to people, oh, look, we've just talked about that. Come and get my free resource. And you're finding that your bounce rate is incredibly high because they're just going to go and get your free resource and then disappear. So if I put my name and details in here and I press get it now, it takes them to another page. So again, they've spent time on more than one page. So it's saying there's one last thing to do. There's a little video there telling them that they're going to get an email, which just come through on my phone there. And there's also a little contact form as well at the bottom of there. So it's keeping them on the website a little bit longer. Equally, when they get that subscription email, they can click on that and it also welcomes them to the Rockstar community. So there's one great way to keep your traffic longer. So if you are sending traffic to a free resource, number one way to keep people there longer is to think about having a one last thing to do page or a welcome page that is redirected after they have signed up. So that gives that experience of them spending a little bit more time there, but also feeling more part of your business, more part of your community, and it feels much more personal. So it's a great thing to include. So that's my number one on freebies. The next one is on blogs. So the other thing that you can do with blogs. Now, blogs are great for you keeping people on your website. So say, for example, I popped a load of traffic over to Instagram, all just pouts and palaver. Now, I could just write a blog and I could just sign it off at the bottom. But what I've also done is I have included some links. So this is an external link. So this is a backlink to somebody else's website. But as we roll down, we've got a link to another blog. So if you hit that one, again, it's keeping people on the site longer. It's taking them to another blog about Instagram. So it's giving them more details and helping them a little bit more, but it's linking content together. And this is something that I call content webbing. So when you have content that is on your Facebook page, or that's on your YouTube channel, or that's on your website, you want to think about how it works together with other content that you've already got. So if you've already got an article that explains more about something that you are referring to in that blog, then you can put a link to it in, which helps your bounce rate because it keeps people on your site longer, gives people that click to the next thing. So here, that's taking them to another Instagram blog. This is taking them to an external link. And then this is taking them to another link about a different social media platform, but is also talking about the same kind of things. So you can see there how that has allowed people to spend more time on the site. Another thing to consider is if you are sending people to different areas of your website, then you are going to get a different kind of bounce rate to if people find their way there organically and by themselves. But the sidebar is a really good thing to use. So the sidebar, again, will help to navigate people into different places. So you can grab this now and you can click on here. You can click on these most recent posts down here. You can watch this video here. You can find out your way to your sales pages here. And it gives you that ability to, again, redirect people to things that they might be interested in. So my 3 top tips for looking at your bounce rate are, number 1, don't be overly precious about that matrix, because it does give you some heads up, but it doesn't tell you a full story. Yeah, if your bounce rate is really, really high and people are spending a really, really small amount of time on your site, that's an issue. So if your bounce rate, for example, was 79 and people are only spending 2 seconds on your website, that's an issue because they're not spending any time on there at all. If your bounce rate is high but people are spending time there, then it might be that what you're doing is directing people over to your website but not keeping them there, but they're spending time consuming the thing that you directed them to. So remember that it's going to give you some information, but it isn't telling you a full story. And you can get the full story by diving a little bit deeper and looking at, right, what pages are they going to? Did I drive the traffic to those pages? How long have they spent on those pages? Is there a way then that I can link those pages to other things? So that then comes into the second tip, number 2, which is make sure that you are webbing your content. So we're thinking about, like we saw on that Instagram blog, is how can we then direct people to other pieces of content within our website? We can think about it from the fact that as I wrote that Instagram blog, I knew that there was other Instagram articles that would be of interest to the people who watched that particular that read that particular blog. But equally, what I could do is I could take the Amazon view on it. So, people like Amazon, you will see all of the time when you're on their site, people who liked this also liked, and have different articles underneath there that people who watched that thing also liked this thing. So that is another good way of doing it. So if your blog doesn't relate to anything else on your site, what you could do is say you might also like these blogs at the bottom of that blog. So then you've got that ability to transfer people to another page on your site. The third one is freebies, and having a page that redirects after people have signed up so that you're not getting the bounce on sign up. So if people sign up, can you then redirect people to a thank you page, or to a, in my case, is the one last thing to do page, which is you then going over and getting a little video of me saying, right, what's going to happen is you're going to get a little email into your inbox and you're going to have to click on that to make sure that you're subscribed, etc., etc., etc. And that's going to be then them going to an additional page, which again is good for bounce rate. The next thing for you to think about is number 3, navigation, sidebars, and call to action buttons. So as we saw in that blog, there is a great navigation across the top, really clear on what we want to do. On that header bar, I'm making sure that all of them are clickable, even when they've got drop downs, so that they are going somewhere if they click on the top line of the navigation. Because what happens with some people is that they put the top line of the navigation in and all the pages are underneath, but that top line actually goes nowhere and it leaves people feeling confused. It's a great way for you, like I'll show you, to have a number then of options that are on the drop down. We're not reinventing the wheel here. What we're doing is we're going here. These things are on the drop down, which we can see here: work together, author, speaking and events, gallery. And as we go down here, they're the same things that are coming in across here that are allowing people to find their way to where they want to be. The sidebar on the blog to navigate them to other articles or to free resources is a really good idea. So once you get into the blog, there's other places for them to go that are navigatable. So we're thinking navigation, we're thinking sidebar, and we're also thinking these different action buttons within the site. So you saw that on the Work With Me page. You've seen that on the front page with the different actionables that people can take. And all of those are things that will help you to bring down their bounce rate. Now, we don't have to, like I said, be overly precious about it and overly worried about it, but we do want people to spend as much time as possible on our websites and experience as much as they can whilst they're there. So I hope that you found today's little YouTube video super useful. Make sure that you get the Nobody Wants a Website guide, because that is available right now for free. And you've even seen it on the website, but I'll pop a little link in to the description too to help and support you get there with ease. And also, if you are worried about the amount of traffic that you are getting to your website, then you might want to check out the video that I did around driving traffic to your website, which you will find pop up on the screen down one of these sides in just a second. So if you loved it, I would love your comments on this video. If you've had any ahas or epiphanies, please do comment on the video. I absolutely adore getting your comments. Please do like the video. And if you haven't already, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, because then you will not miss a thing. And that makes my heart sing. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.